this thing on? Testing, testing. Are you there? Can I have your attention, please? All right, did I get your attention now? We just got back from a track day in the Mk5 Jetta with the 5-cylinder in it, and we gotta talk about it because it was pretty amazing. It's the next day. I haven't even unpacked the car yet. I'm still running off a high from yesterday and being on track with this thing. So yeah, let's talk about it. Track days are awesome. We just got back from running Firebird EAST in the Mk5 Jetta with the 07K 5-cylinder in it, and just what an absolute blast that was. Wore this shirt to the track. I love my 5-cylinder. Could not sum up the weekend more. New shirts available at voyagerc.net. Check them out if you're interested. There will be a link in the description below. If you want to support the channel, pick up one of these Voyage RC hats. Like I said, voyagerc.net. Check them out below. I love my 5-cylinder. That's enough talk about that. You guys are here to talk about the racetrack and how this thing I'm sitting on did on track. It was amazing. Everything we did in the off season, if you've been following along on the channel, all the upgrades we did wonderful out on track. The car was night and day different from the last time I had it out on track at Podium Club. I could not be happier. The track was fun, nice short track, so naturally aspirated 5-cylinder with the 6-speed swap. Did really well, ripping around in second and third gear. She does pretty good. And yes, before you even need to ask, there are gonna be a lot of on-track videos coming, so stay tuned for that. This thing sounds absolutely amazing, ripping out on track. It was probably one of the loudest cars at the track, except for that motorcycle that just ripped by. Definitely one of the loudest cars on track. This thing sounds amazing. It was a blast to drive. Like I said, I'm still running off the high of being on track. I can't wait to get back out on track again. I'm really bad at holding this camera. And hey, before we get too far into this, since we're talking about track related stuff, let me go by leaving a comment down below if you'd like to see any videos on my prep work and how I prep the car, like my general routine before I take the car to the track. If you want to see another video on maybe the stuff I pack to take with me to the track, that kind of stuff. So leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want to see in another video. I also do plan on doing a video, just kind of a general overview of everything I've done to this motor. It's basically full bolt-on, and as far as it's going to go in a naturally aspirated form without opening the motor and doing cams and stuff like that. So if you want to see a video on that too, I do plan on doing just kind of overview of all the parts I have accumulated and put onto the car. Because as you know, after this racing season, next summer, we're going turbo. So we've already got the Arashi turbo ready to go. We're just still gathering parts for that. And then next summer, we're going to dive in and throw some boost at this thing. So yeah, back to the show. Weird angle. We do need to talk about the upgrades that we did and how they performed, and kind of just do a recap of the track day. So let's get into it, because we did a lot over the off season that made some big improvements on the car. And the main thing is braking. 100% confident in the brakes now, and a lot more stopping power than we had last time we were out on track. And the main upgrade is the EBC. These are the RP1 pads. So this is part of their race pad line. So it's an actual race pad that can withstand the temperatures of heavy braking and consistent heavy braking on track. This allowed for the confidence to run deep into the braking zones, lap after lap, without having to do any cool downs or anything like that. I am going to talk about those brakes a little bit more in a minute, but we've got the RP1 race pads up front. In the back, we just went up to the EBC yellow stuff pads. They don't really have the race pad for the rear sizing here. These are the GTI sized brakes, front and rear. So we upgraded to the GTI sizing, but we were running those before. We just had red stuffs all the way around. Yellow stuffs in the back now with an RP1 actual race pad up front. So that helped out quite a bit. Didn't have any brake fade. No issues with the pedal going to the floor and going long, anything like that throughout the run. And for those of you that don't know, Firebird's EAST Track is a relatively short track. Short straightaways, nothing that's long and drawn out, but it's just constantly on the throttle, heavy braking, on the throttle, heavy braking. So it really is a good test of the braking system and how well it's going to hold up to heat, because you're just consistently adding heat. There were several cars that pulled off throughout the day where their front brakes were just smoking. It is a really abusive track as far as braking and stuff goes. So that was a really good test of the new setup, and it worked phenomenally. I didn't have any issues with the brakes or the pedal going long. No brake fade, nothing like that. So I didn't have to do any cool down laps.
I gotta let it cool, pedal's going a little long.
To specifically cool the brakes, because I was running into issues with that. So that was really good, super impressed with that. The new exhaust sounds amazing. The RevMap Performance Tune. If you didn't know, I switched over to Jason at RevMap Performance for the tune. Performed amazing. I did get a revision the night before. So we were on the base tune, and then I got my first revision the night before the track event, and performed phenomenally. So I will be doing more videos on the tune itself. I do have a couple of how to tune and how to log videos for RevMap. I want to do a separate video going over the tune itself and comparing it to the integrated engineering stage 2 that I was on before and all that. So good time to plug subscribing the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. That way you're staying tuned for all the new content that's coming out. The brakes were really the main thing that we did in the off season. Tried to really revamp those, because the first tracks day that we did on the red stuff pads really proved to be an issue. But this thing just performed phenomenally all day. Didn't have any issues with the engine or the transmission or anything like that. Performed absolutely amazing. Super, super happy with how this engine's holding up at 190,000 miles and just being ripped to shreds. I was really, really beating on this thing with the confidence and the new brakes and everything. The tires, I definitely am to the point where I'm sliding these tires quite a bit. These are the Accelera 651 Sport Extras from Tire Streets. Love the tires. They're not the grippiest tires, but when you find them on sale at Tire Streets, I think grip per dollar is really hard to beat with those, especially on the sale price, because they perform well. And since it's designed as a drift tire, it definitely withstands the heat cycles. So when you're bringing them up to temp on track and letting them cool down and just consistently going through that, the rubber is still nice and soft, and the traction is really good and holds throughout the session. So once you get a little heat into them, traction comes in and it doesn't really fade. This has the 2 track days at Podium Club, so 8 20-minute sessions, and then the 1 day that we just did at Firebird, so 4 more 20-minute sessions. Still got lots of grip. Really abused after this current session. Was using them quite a bit more heavily than Podium Club. So we definitely scrubbed them in quite a bit, but super impressed with how they've held up. The other thing we did was, it's still full of all my track gear, but rear seat delete. So we did ditch some weight back here, more so over the rear end because of the seat delete. Not running a headliner, got rid of a bunch of stuff, side curtain airbags, all that, but definitely took some weight out of the back here. And that helped the car feel a little better. Definitely wants to rotate a little bit better. It feels really good. The suspension, it's not super high-end suspension stuff, but with the coilovers and everything from ECS Tuning rear sway bar, all that kind of stuff, it handles good. And none of that changed from the last session to this session, so it's not new. But the suspension does really well, and especially being those budget coilovers, there's some really heavy curbing at Firebird EAST Track, and it sucked up those curbs and still felt really good going over them. Nice and confident you could get the wheels over the curbs, use the curbs. That way you're using all the track, maintaining speed and everything. And of course, we did redo the exhaust on this during the off season. It is decatted now with a Vibra ultraquiet resonator and then straight piped after that. We were running this before, but you can't go by without mentioning that Evo header sitting right there. That thing is absolutely amazing, brings some mid-range power back, still have the top end, and just absolutely sounds ridiculously awesome. So makes this little 5-pot sound even better. So like I said, it's the day after. I'm trying to just gather my thoughts. I'm still running on a high from being on track, because it was an absolute blast just being able to push the car as hard as I was able to push it. There's still more in it. I will be posting my fastest lap of the day, which would be my personal best at the track. This is the first time I've driven this particular track. I've been on the track and had ride-alongs before, but this is the first time I've actually driven it. First time the old girl here has been on it. But just super happy with how the car performed, how far I was able to push it, and just looking back at all the video now, just finding these little areas where I can still even pick up more speed. I'm excited. I just want to put this video out, a little recap of how she did at the track, which was amazing. The brakes were phenomenal. If you've ever tracked your car and you don't have the confidence in the brakes, you know how much time you're losing on track just because you don't have the confidence to send it. So super happy with that. It is performing. I think I'm gonna end it here. I'll post some sound clips of being on track so you guys can hear this rip, and there will be lots more videos of on-track footage and stuff coming to the channel. I do want to do more videos, like I said, on the RevMap tune specifically. I might do a more in-depth video on the brakes and talking about those. I still feel like the brakes could be better. Maybe it's not the exact right pad for this setup, but they did do really well. It's more of a pedal feel thing, but I want to go in more depth on a different video on that. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, leave a comment down below if you got any questions. Enjoy some sounds.